On the 15th of April this year, the chief executive officer of Snap, the company that owns Snapchat, sent a memo to his staff. The memo announced that Snap was reducing its global workforce by 16%, 1,000 jobs. The memo gave one reason. The reason was artificial intelligence. Snap's share price in the hours after the announcement jumped 11%. The market understood the deal. The deal was that AI now writes 65% of Snap's code. The company will save more than $500 million a year on salaries, and the people whose jobs were eliminated would, in the formal language of the press release, receive 4 months of severance pay with health care coverage. A year ago, this kind of memo did not exist. This year, there is one almost every week. In the first 3 months of 2026, AI-attributed layoffs hit 30,000 people in the United States alone, on track for 90 times the number announced in 2025. In the same 3 months, Americans filed 1.56 million new business applications, the highest 3-month total since this number started being tracked in 2004. Both things are happening at the same time to the same group of people. If you have a job today, the most useful thing you can do in the next 18 minutes is watch this carefully. Because the numbers, the genuinely current numbers, current as of this week, say something quite specific about whether you should still have one in a year. A note before we begin. This is an unusual episode for this channel. We normally cover companies. This one is about you. By the end of the next 18 minutes, you will know exactly what is happening in the labor market in the second quarter of 2026. You will know the named individuals on both sides, the people who were laid off, the people who used the layoff to start something, and the people who are now being quietly rehired 6 months later, often at lower salaries. You will know the actual economics of running a one-person business in 2026, how much it costs, how much it makes, what the operating margins look like, and what the founder of one of the world's most powerful AI labs has predicted will happen by the end of this year. You will know the emotional data, what the people who are still in their jobs are feeling, the new anxiety acronym that has emerged in the workplace, and the specific number of workers who say AI is already replacing or devaluing parts of what they do. And most importantly, at the end, you will get a decision framework. 3 questions. If your answers are a particular shape, the data says you should be considering a change. If your answers are a different shape, the data says stay. Either way, you will have made the choice with the actual numbers in front of you. Let's start with the numbers. February 2026. The United States economy lost 92,000 jobs. The unemployment rate climbed to 4.4%, the highest reading since the pandemic recovery. March 2026. The economy added 178,000 jobs back, but the headline disguised what was underneath. The professional and business services sector, finance, IT, legal, consulting, has been cutting jobs on a net basis for 3 consecutive years. The Challenger Report, the labor market data series that has tracked United States layoff announcements since 1989, registered 60,620 job cuts in March alone, up 25% on February. The number one reason given by employers, for the first time in the history of that report, was artificial intelligence. The companies named in the data are not small. Microsoft and Meta together have cut 20,000 roles since the start of 2026. Snap last week cut 1,000. The professional services giant Accenture announced it would let go of approximately 10,000 consultants whose work, in the company's own internal memo phrasing, can now be done by Claude or by GPT 5.5. The Anthropic research team, the same lab that built the Claude Mythos model we covered 2 episodes ago, published a labor market study in early March. The headline finding was that the occupations most exposed to AI in 2026 are computer and mathematical occupations. AI can, on the company's own internal benchmarks, handle 94% of the tasks in those jobs. Real world deployment today is at 33%. The gap is the prediction. The same 3 months, same country, same population. 1.56 million new business applications filed between November 2025 and January 2026, the highest 3-month total since this number started being tracked 22 years ago. Behind that headline is a QuickBooks survey of 1,012 employed Americans conducted in December. 1 in 3 of them, 33%, said they plan to start a new business or side hustle within the next 12 months. A year earlier, that number was 17%. The intent has nearly doubled in 12 months. Generation Z is leading. 43% of Gen Z respondents said they were considering starting a business this year. The number for millennials is 39%. For Generation X, it drops to 21%. A separate study of post-layoff outcomes, published in March 2026 by an analytics firm tracking former employees of large tech companies, found that the rate of new venture creation by laid-off workers was 67% higher than the rate among workers who left voluntarily. Translated: being laid off in 2026 is not the end of a career arc. It is, more often than not, the start of a different one. One named individual to make this concrete. Sam Brown is 48 years old. He was a technology operations manager at a medium-sized SaaS company until June 2025, when he was made redundant in an AI-related restructure. 9 months later, in early 2026, he had joined 2 co-founders to start a company called Fathom AI. The team is 3 people. The infrastructure is 12 AI agents. There is no engineering department. Within 12 weeks of launch, Fathom AI had reached an estimated $300,000 in annual recurring revenue. The gross margin is over 90%. The operating cost is under 10% of revenue. A platform that, in 2024, would have required a $10 million seed round and a team of 20 engineers is now being run by 3 operators and a stack of AI agents, for what Sam Brown's co-founder described in a Fortune profile from April 2026 as the cost of a dinner out. Here's what is now possible. Financially, that was not possible 18 months ago. A complete solopreneur tech stack in 2026. Every tool a one-person business needs to run end-to-end costs between $3,000 and $12,000 per year. The same capability staffed traditionally a developer, a marketer, a customer service person, an accountant, a designer, costs between $200,000 and $400,000 per year. That is a 95 to 98% reduction in fixed cost. Operating margins on solopreneur businesses, on data published by the Founder Reports compilation in early 2026, are running at 60 to 80%. The same margins in traditionally staffed early-stage companies are typically 10 to 20%. The total United States economic contribution from solopreneurs as of early 2026 is approximately $1.7 trillion per year, generated by 29.8 million people. 77% of those businesses are profitable in their first year of operation. 2 specific examples worth knowing. Danny Postma, an independent developer based in Amsterdam, runs a single product SaaS called Headshot Pro. He has no employees. The platform generates approximately $3.6 million in annual recurring revenue. The team is 1 person. Maor Shlomo, an Israeli developer, built a website building tool called Base 44 in late 2024. By June 2025, the product had 250,000 users, was profitable, and was acquired by Wix for $80 million. The team at the point of acquisition was 1 person. In May 2025, Dario Amode, the chief executive of Anthropic, the lab whose research on AI labor market exposure we just quoted, gave a podcast interview in which he was asked, on the record, when he expected the first one-person billion-dollar company. His answer was 2026. He gave it, in his words, 70 to 80% odds. We are now in April 2026. The year is roughly one-third over. The numbers are clear. The feelings, predictably, are messier. A poll of 1,012 employed United States adults, conducted by the recruiting firm Resume Now in December 2025, 40% said AI is already replacing, devaluing, or overlapping with elements of their current job. 29% said it could effectively do at least half of their daily responsibilities. The Conference Board, an economic research nonprofit founded in 1916, ran a separate survey in February 2026. 62% of employees said leadership at their company was underestimating the emotional and psychological impact of AI on the workforce. And among workers whose companies had recently laid off coworkers, that is, the survivors of the cut, the ones still employed, 65% said they were now worried about their own job security. The same number among workers at companies that had not had recent layoffs was 24%. 49% of layoff survivors in the same data reported a measurable decline in their own morale and engagement at work after their colleagues were cut. A new acronym has emerged in the workplace literature this year. The acronym is FOBO. It stands for Fear of Becoming Obsolete. The American Psychological Association is tracking it. What is worth noting about FOBO as a phenomenon is that it does not require a layoff to do damage. The data shows that the people whose engagement at work declines are often the ones who never lose their job at all. They spend a year or 2 years watching colleagues be cut, watching internal teams shrink, watching the company's communication go from "this technology will help you do your job" to "this technology will help us run the business with fewer of you." 5 out of 10 United States workers in early 2026 surveys say their stress levels at work have spiked because of job insecurity. 42% of the worried group say it is interfering with their sleep. 36% say it is straining their personal relationships. If you are watching this, and any of those numbers describe your last 3 months, you're not unusual. You are average, a complication before the framework. Not every AI layoff is permanent. A study published by the staffing firm Robert Half in February 2026 found that 29% of companies that had recently laid off workers in connection with an AI deployment had, within 12 months, quietly rehired some of those same workers. A separate piece of research from Forrester in their Predictions 2026 report made the prediction starker. Half of AI-attributed layoffs in 2026 will be quietly rehired, often offshore, often at significantly lower salaries. A study from CareerMinds focused on HR professionals found that 2/3 of HR leaders whose organizations had laid off employees over the previous year, specifically to replace them with AI, had already rehired at least some of those people. The reason, in the same study's wording, was usually simple. The AI deployment had not delivered the promised cost saving, or the customer service quality had collapsed, or the institutional knowledge that walked out of the building turned out to be more expensive to rebuild than to retain. 2 things to take from this. First, if you have been laid off in an AI-related cut, your former employer is statistically more likely to call you back in 12 months than to be permanently better off without you. Second, they will, when they call you back, almost certainly offer you less. The same Forrester report uses the phrase AI washing to describe the pattern of using AI as a publicly stated reason for cuts that are in private financial filings primarily about cost. The market, as the Snap stock price reaction shows, currently rewards companies for citing AI in their layoff announcements. So the citing has, in some non-trivial number of cases, run ahead of the technology. Translation for the worker: some of the layoffs are real and the work is gone. Some of the layoffs are theater and the work will quietly come back. Either way, it is rarely the same job, at the same salary, with the same future. That part is gone. 3 questions. Answer them honestly. Question 1. Of the work you currently do, what percentage could a current frontier AI model, a Claude Opus 4.7, a GPT 5.5, a Gemini 3.1 Pro, already do today at acceptable quality? Be precise. Not everything will be automated eventually. What can the model already do this afternoon with the right prompt on your actual outputs from last week? If the answer is below 30%, your job is genuinely augmented by AI, not replaced. The data says you're safe for the next 12 to 24 months. If the answer is between 30 and 60%, you're in the squeeze. Your value to your employer is shrinking, and your salary is, in real terms, going to start drifting down. If the answer is above 60%, your job in its current form is on a clock. The clock on the data above is between 6 and 24 months. Question 2. Do you have a specific currently underserved problem in a specific currently underserved market that you understand from inside and that AI tools could now help you solve at solo operator scale? Notice what the question does not ask. It does not ask whether you have an idea. It does not ask whether you want to be an entrepreneur. It does not ask whether you have venture capital or a co-founder or a runway. The economics of 2026 say the question that matters is the specificity of the problem. Sam Brown at Fathom AI built an AI sales enablement tool for the medical aesthetics industry, specifically. He had spent 20 years inside that adjacent space. The specificity is the moat. Question 3. Have you, in the last 90 days, spent more than 10 hours actually using a frontier AI model on your own time, on a problem in your own life or work? If the answer is no, the most important thing you can do this week, regardless of any other decision in this video, is fix that. The decision you are facing, quit, stay, build, retrain, cannot be made well from outside the tools. Spend the 10 hours, then come back to questions 1 and 2. The decision tree simplified. If question 1 is below 30% and question 2 has no clear answer, stay. Use the security to learn AI deeply. Retest in 6 months. If question 1 is above 60% and question 2 has a clear answer, start quietly while you are still employed. The data on post-layoff venture creation rates says the people who start while still receiving a salary outperform the people who start after the layoff. Anywhere in between. The framework is build the side hustle to the point where the salary stops being the reason you stay. Then the decision is forced for you by you, not by a memo from your CEO at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. If this is the kind of breakdown you want more of, actual numbers, actual stories, actual frameworks in the dry register, subscribe. We will be recutting this video as the data moves. Thank you for watching.